Bitcoin is well above the July lows of about $29,000.
Bitcoin soars past $50,000 yet again, flirting with a prolonged rally.
Where do we see Bitcoin's price going next?
Tired of all the noise? Ready to start really learning about crypto? This is Leslie Lamb, and I host the Crypto Unstacked podcast, the go-to resource for the crypto curious that covers everything from crypto trading and investing to NFTs, decentralized finance, and more. Wherever you are, grab your fresh cup of crypto and join me on Crypto Unstacked.
Has returned, and we start the radio feed. Aussie Tiger, welcome. I'm surprised you're here. Thank you for joining us as we continue on. And who else do we have? We got like 30 seconds to get this going. Marvin, what's happening? And who else is here? The gorgeous Helena J., the stunning Dutch princess, Sally Van de Voorde. And who else is here? Daryl Zernick, welcome. Aaron, Bigfoot Anon, nice to have you guys here. And that's about it. Do me the favor right now, get your horns up. It's time to rock with Mr. Bumblefoot. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you for tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The legend is back for the final time of 2021 as we are proud to bring you Butch Witkowski's Strange Days. Butch is the creator and lead investigator for UFO Cop out of Pennsylvania. His group's job is to chase down monsters, Bigfoots, bipedal canines, ghosts, and all the UFO and aliens you can handle. Butch and his team are ready for anything strange and unusual that happens around the world, and we're always glad that he is here on Spaced Out Radio. Mr. Butch Witkowski, it is always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. How are you?
I'm fine. It's always a pleasure to be here.
It is always a pleasure. How was your Christmas with the family?
Good. Very good. Very good. Busy. Ate too much, same old stuff.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm on day 3 of turkey, man. Day 3. I'm down to the turkey sandwiches now.
Christmas, we usually do ham.
Well, that's still nice. That's still nice. So what did Santa bring you?
Gift cards, tools, food, 5 pounds of homemade Polish kielbasa.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's just making my mouth water right there, man. Making my mouth water. My friend, it is always a pleasure to have you here on Spaced Out Radio. And, hard to believe another year has gone. We've been doing this almost 6 years, you and I, once a month. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty surprised that you're still here, man, considering that, you could be doing better things with your time than hanging out with us.
No, I like hanging out with you guys. You're all nuts.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So, looking back on the year, we're going to get into everything that you kind of investigated this year and some of your highlights of 2021. Before we get into that, we always have people here who are new listening to the show and may not know how you are. What is a former cop doing in retirement, checking out and looking for monsters? Why do you waste your time, man?
just need to know the truth. You hear so many stories and you see so many things, and you just want the truth. And usually when you get a report where you have a one-on-one with somebody, maybe a good story, but there's no way of collaborating what they're telling you, so you've got to go on it by yourself and do the research and try to come up with something to make it plausible anyway. But it's really just a search for the truth. It's always been that from day one.
In your mind, what is truth? Because we have so many people speaking about this topic. We have so many people promoting their own theories. What's the truth, Butch? Like, for you, what is your captivation? What is your motivation to figure out what is going on?
Well, with the UFOs, I mean, I pretty much settled into that years ago that they exist. Paranormal, I'm still a little skeptical about. The bipedal canine, just trying to get more information on him. And there's something out there. I mean, when you see stuff that was printed up back in the 1700s, and it's the same description of what you're looking for right now in 2021, a little hard to buy that one and say like, oh, that don't make any sense. I mean, the description's right on the money. So there's something out there. I want to know what it is. I just want to know. End of story. I mean, that's it. I just want to know what it is. I don't know to need where it comes from or anything like that, because I'm sure there's not going to be any sit down over a hamburger or anything like that. So it's just really just trying to put all these pieces together that have driven me nuts for over 30 years, and some of them have come together really well. And I got to say that first. I mean, there are UFOs, there are unidentified objects out there. It's not our stuff. Everybody says, well, it could be ours. Not a chance. There is no way. I mean, when you have one of our state-of-the-art fighters, traveling at over 1,000 miles an hour and it can't even get close, that ain't from here. And the disclosure stuff I've kind of just put on the shelf, because I've been hearing that for the last 30 years too. The disclosure, it's going to happen every day. The government's going to tell the truth. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Government ain't going to say squat. They'll say just enough to get everybody's attention off of what they're really doing. Look, there's people still investigating Dulce Base. Now, that's been investigated by pretty much everybody, but there's still people out there doing it because they just aren't buying the story. They want to know the truth. And I like those kind of people where they, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but I want to see it with my own eyes, or I want to hear it, or I want to see the evidence. Absolutely. Because without any evidence, you're just talking about a story, and I've gotten boxes and boxes and boxes of stories.
At what point do you get tired of anecdotal evidence? Because I think the biggest frustration we see in the UFO community, the cryptid community, and even the paranormal community is the fact that all we have is anecdotal evidence. Reported sightings of flying monsters or cryptids like Sasquatch or UFOs, aliens. I don't think it's tied to just one. But with the internet these days, with the technology that we have, Butch, I think a lot of people out there are so tired of the stories, they're making themselves angry over it.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, it depends on the type of investigator you have out there. I mean, if it's just somebody that's doing this for a hobby, excuse me, and they go out twice a year. They go spend a weekend looking for Bigfoot and another weekend looking for whatever. It's the folks that are out every weekend. Snow, rain, ice, it don't matter. They're out there. or they'll, jump in a vehicle and they'll drive 400 or 500 miles to take a report. Those are the people that I really listen to. And, I've out of all of them, I really haven't met anybody that's gotten tired of it or, just wants to hang it up and call it a day. I mean, they're all just as gung-ho as the first time I met them, which is good, because doing this stuff, you better be gung-ho, because if you're just going to be somebody that just, you pick up a pen and you write a little bit down here and you write a little bit down there and you file it away, well, that didn't get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. And there's not going to be any knowledge that's passed on or shared. And that's another thing. You have a lot of people out there, they have decent information, but they don't share it. And then you have people out there that are so full of it, they got all kind of information that don't mean anything.
Okay, so how do we tell the difference? Because I think that's a hard part for the public, Butch, in order to tell the difference of where they're getting straight information from. You can claim, I can claim that our knowledge is pure and we're going to tell the truth to the audience. We're going to tell the truth to our followers about what we are seeing, what we are doing, so on and so forth. But everybody out there is doing that same thing. And this is where I always get confused on what's the truth. Now, personally, when you speak, I believe you because we have a long-time relationship. I know you're someone who is not going to pull the wool over my eyes, and therefore that's why I bring you on once a month, because I trust you for our listeners to get information from. But there's a lot of people out there who, I hear their stories, I hear their information, and I'm kind of like, geez, I don't know. I don't know about this, man.
After a while, you can almost pick out the fame and fortune people. You know what I mean? They usually start out with, I was going to go over to the other county over there, but I don't have the time for that. Now, if you got a good report, and another county's like just a few miles in any direction, and you come up with this thing like you don't have fuel or you don't have the time, why'd you waste your time to take the report to begin with? Why don't you just give it to somebody else, or tell that individual to call somebody else, get somebody else on the line? But those people usually don't have the connections with other researchers. They're usually by themselves, or it's them and a couple of guys from high school they went, that were together. I see more of that in the paranormal, though. UFOs, they're kind of hard to debunk because, they're usually multi-witness and they're photographed very well and they go back a long time. Bipedal canines, they go back a long time, but never been photographed. Then you have the paranormal, which I have a lot of issues with the paranormal. When they're going to go someplace and they say, we're going to get this or we're going to get that. Well, how did you know you're going to get this and that? Unless you're putting it in there. Now, somebody that walks into a house or whatever for the first time and somebody throws a chair at them and there's nobody else in the house. Oh, that's different. But they're going to the home or wherever they're going, and they've already got it planned out. They're already telling you what they're going to find. Well, that's nonsense. That's not going to be happening. But there are a lot of researchers out there that are really, really good. They're really worth their grain of salt. And they know what they're doing. They know how to get their stuff together. They know how to keep their act together. And, I've been fortunate with good people. A couple groups, Lon Strickler's groups. He's been fortunate with a lot of good people. But there are groups out there that, I wouldn't give two hoots and a spit for. because it's like you said, you kind of get that feeling like when they're talking to you, you're going like, this don't sound kosher. Or, or they start describing something and they're actually describing something either from a movie, a book, or a prior report, almost verbatim. And then you just let them talk and be done with it.
When you look into a case, how do you start to finish take a case? So if I say am someone who doesn't know you and I send an email off to you, and I say, hey, I had a UFO landing in my backyard. I have 50 acres on this side of Chicago, out in the flatlands there of the farming area. Help me out here. I'm a little weirded out by what happened. What goes on there?
Well, the first thing you try to do is get the closest researcher you can to that location. I mean, that's not something you're going to take an email over or a phone call. I mean, if you're talking a landing, you want somebody there. And, at that point, a landing, by the time your investigator get there, you probably have 1,000 people around or walking around your yard. But usually that's the first thing. You get no matter what the call is, you want to get a researcher there, an investigator. And if that's not possible, say just the way the person works, or they don't, they don't have the wherewithal to take a day off to meet with you, and they got to do it by telephone or they got to do it by email. Telephone's okay, because whatever they tell me, I'm going to research anyway. I'm going to do background research on the area, on calls that are similar within, a certain area. And it's just what you have to do. I mean, the day of taking a report and filing it, they went away a long time ago. Now there's, unfortunately, quite a number of people in groups that's what they do. They take the report and they file it. No matter where you get the report from, you got to get back to the person or the individual or the researcher and just carry it through. You just can't let stuff lay. And when you let stuff lay like that, then you'll get a bad rap. Your reputation goes in the toilet real quick. And another thing, this stuff of these groups that they don't like this guy don't like that guy, this guy don't like that girl, they don't like this radio show, they don't like what was printed on the internet, or there's always a war going on. You just like, if they put that much energy into their reports or their research, they'd probably be a lot happier and come up with a lot better answers than they're getting. But I guess it's more fun to just hack on somebody all the time. And they do that. That's the way it's always been. I mean, from day one, I saw that where, this group doesn't like that group because this group got 2 reports more than they did. Or this guy got a radio show that he was on for 15 minutes. And this guy had a radio show and he was only on for 5 minutes. And World War III starts all over again. So I find it better that, when you're involved in whatever, whether it's the UFOs, paranormal, or cryptozoology, any of that, just align yourself where you can get good information. There's always people out there that'll help you. I mean, I know we'll help anybody, and I know Lon's groups and a couple other groups out in Western Pennsylvania, they'll help anybody. There's no big deal about that. I mean, if somebody needs information, if I have it, I'll give it to them. The only thing we don't do, and I don't know of anybody worth of salt that does, is give out personal information on the individuals or individual that gave you the report. That's an absolute no-no, because you do that once, you're done. You're finished. You won't get anything from anybody.
We got 5 minutes to go before we have to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happening right now, the final episode of 2021 before we look into next year. Butch, we're going to start to turn the corner here a little bit because, the one thing that we can say is it has been a weird year in everything. A weird year in ufology, where we saw ufology become very political. We saw a lot of Mothman stories, bipedal canine, Sasquatch stories. We're going to get into a lot of those this year. In an overall look at 2021, to me, this was a very good year because, if anything, with everybody kind of, not knowing what to do during the pandemic, it's taken people outside and it's taken people into the forest and into areas, whether it's staring at the sky or whether it's, going for a hike or geocaching in a national park and literally putting them in those situations. So I'm curious, overall for 2021, was it a good year for reports?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All reports were up. Cryptid reports, UFO reports, even some of the delving into past paranormal cases that are getting more, they're getting looked at a little harder now than they were before. But it's been a great year for that. I mean, this year as opposed to last year is like night and day. There's thousands of reports of UFOs this year.
That is true. That is very
and
true.
Then when you look out in the Chicago area with whatever flying around out there, I mean, those reports are almost daily, but it's amazing. It really is amazing. And we've got new stuff coming out. You got the environmental DNA and portable scanners now. You don't have to do the plaster and all that stuff to take a print. Portable scanners, scan it, and I can send you a picture of the print. Where before it was, like make a copy, pack it up, send it send it snail mail. Now it's just a matter of pushing a couple buttons and I can send that to anybody.
It is a good time, man. It is a good time as those reports keep coming in. Would you say you had more UFO reports?
So, you like murder mysteries? The Deadbolt Mystery Society can bring it to life in your own home.
It's a monthly subscription box filled with a storyline of intriguing characters, evidence, mystery, and suspense.
Even BuzzFeed says it's the closest you'll get to fulfill your dreams of being Sherlock Holmes.
Solve your first mystery with promo code DMS20, and you'll get the save 20% off your first purchase.
DeadboltMysterySociety.com.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Reports than cryptid or paranormal reports this year?
I would say more UFO reports. And more cryptid reports, but those are out in the Chicago area where they've been just building up over the last couple of years. Why nobody's been hit by one of these things flying around is beyond me. I mean, they're everywhere, and some of those reports are, they're hard to deny. I mean, and a lot of them are multiple witness, so. A single witness is okay, but multiple witnesses like gold.
Do we see more multiple witness cases this year than ever before, or is it an up year?
I see more in ufology, and I think in the crypto world, whether it's Bigfoot or the flying, whatever they are out there in Chicago, there are multi-witness reports.
What, in your mind, is a good report? As we got about a minute to go here.
A good report?
Yeah.
Multi-witness. Multi-witness, I'm not talking about neighbor next door to neighbor. I'm talking about this guy, and a mile away, a guy seeing the exact same thing, exact same time. And I've been a part of that one time, and that made me a believer. But it's the multi-witness are always much better. It leaves very little room for people to just throw stuff out there and see what sticks, because there's somebody else that's going to be talking to you too, and there may be 3 or 4 people that are going to be talking to you. Now, 3 or 4 people all give you the same information. This is what it looked like. This is which way it was going. This is this, blah, blah, blah. They fill in all the blanks.
Right. Well, let's fill in some blanks when we return for the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues here on the mighty SOR Year in Review 2021 in the Weird and Supernatural. All right, we're clear. I just want to quickly say we got a lot of newbies listening in for the first time in our chat room and probably elsewhere tonight. So we do things a little bit differently. We are a live radio show. You guys get to hear the background of everything. And, I think it's really cool that you guys kind of get the background. You'll hear us talk during the commercial breaks and everything like that. But the reason why we do take commercial breaks is this show does go out to our radio stations that we have to make sure that everything goes as kosher as possible. So that's the reason why we do take the commercial breaks rather than just run through. And so it's a little bit different from what we do here, so compared to other people. So if you can put up with that, that's great. Don't forget, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. We are here 7 days a week for your listening entertainment, and give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. If there was a thumb sideways, I would say give us that as well. But thank you so much for the love and support of the show so far. And, man, we're packing the house here. Packing the house. 173 on YouTube so far, a couple on Facebook, and we appreciate that. Who just came in here? I just saw it there. Pine Island Research, how you doing? Nice to see you guys. Thank you for coming on in. And Jason Hotop, good to see you. So, thanks, Butch. Space Tree, what's happening? And if you're new here, we do take questions in hour number 2. Thank you, Daryl, for that super chat. Let me read what you said here. Dave, I believe you said you live near West Carlton UFO site. Was your Bigfoot sighting also? No, I don't live near West Carlton. I'm in British Columbia here. My Bigfoot sighting happened in Mission, British Columbia, and since I moved up here, we've had a couple of instances, but I haven't seen the big guy up here just yet. Joe Walsh, welcome. S-Truth Gaming, welcome. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us. Let's see here. Right now, Butch, it is outside the studios. It's warmed up to minus 26 degrees Celsius or minus 15 Fahrenheit. Just so you know.
Wow. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts, man. It is kind of nuts. Kira, I believe you. 2022 will be my year to see Bigfoot up close. I have a feeling. I'm going with it. James Smith, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. Who else has joined us here? Don't want to miss anybody. Yep. At one point this morning with wind chill, Butch, it was minus 45 here.
Oy.
Yeah. And then the wind died, which, thank goodness, the wind died.
That's crazy.
Aussie Tiger, that's minus 26, not 26 Celsius, minus 26. Yep. So tomorrow, oh my goodness, tomorrow we're going to get a little bit of a heat wave, goes up to minus 2 Celsius, low of minus 18. Oh, pardon me, that's Fahrenheit, sorry. So Tuesday, a high of minus 19 Fahrenheit, a low of minus 28. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we're supposed to get more snow and a high of minus 16 to minus 17 all 3 days. Then it warms up for the weekend to minus 9 and minus 6, and then minus 7 next Monday. So, yeah. Carlito, what's happening, man? All right, big thank you to Simon, Smithy, Timmy, Dry Toast, Sally, Sugar Britches, Thomas, Rooted in Gorgeous Sacredness, Phil, Ben, and Daryl for the Super Chats. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on social media, Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our good man Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop out of Pennsylvania. We do a monthly feature near the end of each month called Strange Days, where we talk about the monsters among us. And we're going to kick it off right now with a little Mothman, because everybody talks UFOs. We'll get into some UFOs a little bit later on. But Mothman really seemed to make an appearance a few times around Chicago in 2021. Butch, take us back in time to when these sightings around Chicago started.
Best of my knowledge, about 3 years ago. And at first there were just a couple, and then they just started coming in like, it was almost like a daily thing for a while there. And the investigators out there, I mean, Lon's fortunate he has people out in that area that they can, follow up really quick on stuff. I didn't do any of the research into those cases, but, I was doing some research on the underground Chicago, where, places that this creature could hide or nest or whatever. But some of those reports are crazy. I mean, where they're seen in parking lots and on rooftops, and it's just crazy. And then while that's going on, I don't have a date, or can't think of one right offhand, but you've had a couple Mothman sightings down in West Virginia. So are they connected? I don't think so. The description of Mothman is been nailed down pretty good, but then you have those the flying whatever's out there in the Chicago area, and it's not just the Chicago area; it's in the general area of Chicago, but a lot of them were in Chicago. The descriptions, some people go like, well, they're pterodactyls, or they're this, or they're that. I mean, well, I just shake my head and like, okay. And then I get a photograph from Lon, and he says, "What do you see in this photograph?" And I looked at it and looked at it. And I called him on the phone. I said, "Buddy," I said, "I thought this has never come out of my mouth." I said, "But in my mind, from what I'm looking at, and as far as I could blow it up and stuff," I said, "I'm looking at a dragon."
Dragon.
He said, "That's exactly what I thought." And I went like, "Okay."
Hold on.
And it does.
Hold on. You have a photograph. You and Lon Strickler have a photograph of a dragon.
Yeah.
Now, is it a blurry dragon, a blur dragon squatch, or what?
No, it was taken. It was taken pretty far away, but we have the original photograph. From the that was taken by the camera. But when you look at it, I mean, you can see the tail with the point, like the little point on the end. You can see that the wings are scalloped out along the edge. You can make out the head and the neck. I mean, it's not a bird. Not even close to being a bird. And I turned it upside down and backwards and sideways. I'm trying to turn it into a bird. My wife's sitting there going like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to turn a dragon into a bird." And she said, "There's something wrong with you." And then she walked away. But he asked me, and I told him, I swear, I can't understand why it's even coming out of my mouth, but it looks like a dragon. Oh, Lon's on there. Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we at here?
Where is the gorgeous Lon Strickler?
I just saw him here a second ago.
He's in the chat room, and he says, yes, it looks like a dragon.
Yeah. And it does. I mean, I don't know what else to say it was. It's not somebody's parrot to cut loose. And, I don't know. And then, somebody asked me a little while back, could things like that still exist? Who knows? I mean, look, the crypto people, they find stuff every year, something new. New ape, a new bird, a new snake, a new this, a new that. Why not something like that?
When you see a dragon or a pterodactyl or something along those lines of high strangeness, Butch, do you think people are seeing something that is flying through today's skies, or has maybe a ripple effect opened up in a different dimension or the timeline where they're actually looking into something different for a brief moment?
It could be both. There was a gentleman on a radio show not too awful long ago, and he brought up the same thing. He said, "Do you think people are seeing what they're seeing, or are they seeing a moment in time going backwards, or time standing still, or time going forward?" And, it's a compelling argument. I mean, we don't know enough about portals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think everybody has a general idea what a portal is, but proof of a portal or actually, where we have, okay, we'll just use Bigfoot sightings where, somebody sees a Bigfoot and, they're on it, they got the camera on it, they got witnesses, and there's a flash of light and it disappears. Is that a portal? Could be. And I'll tell you another thing that a lot of people are starting to look into: time travel.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Big time.
Yes. Time travel is becoming a very, very highlighted project ever since, people, especially around the UFO community, have started talking about where these UFOs may be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Any chance of us seeing that dragon pic?
Yeah, just got to hold along.
Well, I know Lon is listening. Lon, if we're allowed to see that photo, if you could send it to me, I would appreciate that. I understand if you can't. Just give me a yes or a no, if you don't mind, because I would love to take a look at that photo and bring that photo up to our audience here, but I will leave that to you. Oh, okay. Lon says the photographer will not release it to the public, and I understand that, and that makes a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense, because when people have something that incredibly special, a lot of times to our audience, as much of a bummer as it is for us not being able to see it, a lot of times what happens is when you have something that is really, really special, you don't want it going public because of the kryptonite that it becomes. Would you agree with that, Butch?
Absolutely. That's what any report.
Okay. So for you, going back to the whole Mothman game regarding this dragon photo, do you think that was a dragon, or do you think that was a different version of a Mothman?
No, to me it looked like a dragon. I mean, I tried to put a couple other things together, but it didn't come out to what that looked like. I mean, to me it looked like a dragon. And I'll say it again. When I called Lon, I said, I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth, but I think it looks like a dragon, And he said, yeah. So you can only say what you think it is. I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't take the picture. But I have enough programs that I can pretty much clear up even the fuzziest photograph. And I can outline it, I can enhance it, I can lighten it, I can darken it. I mean, there's a lot of things I can do with it. I can go up to 800% blowing it up. So, but that's what it looked like.
What kind of day was this taken? Was it taken in the evening? Was it taken in the day? Was there clouds around? Was there rainy skies?
Daylight. Clear.
No kidding. And are there any airplanes or anything in the background of it?
Nope. Mm-mm. Clear sky. Couple little wispy clouds. That was it. They weren't even near it.
Where the hell does that come from? And where does it live?
Well, that was a big thing for me with this from the very beginning. Where would something like this nest? I'm assuming. That's why I went and started looking at the underground in Chicago, which is there's railroads under there. Yeah, it's like another city underground, but and a lot of these places are blocked off. Some have gates and stuff like that. But I thought to myself, well, if I was one of them and I was gonna find a place to hide, nest, eat, whatever, I'd go where not many people go, and that just led me to the underground. And then when I got to the underground, I was like, oh my God, this is like another city here. So,
Okay, so if this isn't a Mothman type creature, is this something that you have investigated or Lon has investigated before?
Lon, not me, Lon. The team Lon has together that's working out there is amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. Those guys and girls, I mean, they really work their butts off. And it's amazing that some of them live so close to where the sightings take place that, it's not like, well, we'll get there maybe next month or something like that. I mean, they're Johnny on the spot, man. They're there.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, I'm looking forward to taking a look at it one day when you guys decide to release it, or the owner of the photograph decides to release it. Was the photographer who took this photo, were they just...
So, you like murder mysteries? The Deadbolt Mystery Society can bring it to life in your own home.
It's a monthly subscription box filled with a storyline of intriguing characters, evidence, mystery, and suspense.
Even BuzzFeed says it's the closest you'll get to fulfill your dreams of being Sherlock Holmes.
Solve your first mystery with promo code DMS20, and you'll get the save 20% off your first purchase.
DeadboltMysterySociety.com.
You will solve the great mystery.
Streaming only on Peacock.
This is Robert Langdon. The suspect called him.
I teach symbology. He wants me to locate an ancient portal buried within the Capitol.
From the author of the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons.
It's your dad. The people who took him want me to find a piece of a very old puzzle.
And executive producers Ron Howard and Brian Grazer.
We have to finish this, or my dad is dead.
Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Kind of taking photos, or did they see it and then grab their camera and started taking pictures of it?
I don't know the whole story. I was only tasked with looking at the photograph and giving my comment on what I thought it was. I know it was, I believe it was Danville, Pennsylvania. I think. Pretty sure it was Danville, Pennsylvania. That's a far cry from Chicago.
And where are you in Pennsylvania? How close to you is that?
It would be north of me. And same for Lon, be north of Lon.
I think that's where the crypto guru is around, somewhere around Danville. Ronald Murphy.
I don't really know where Ron is.
I think he's near Danville.
It could be. It could be.
So, I mean, it didn't. So, for your case, it didn't look like a bird. It didn't look like anything that you've seen before.
No. Mm-mm. I mean, even if it would have been a big eagle or a hawk or something like that, there was no. The definition was totally wrong. I mean, it was not something that you would see. I mean, like I said, like an eagle or a condor or anything else. I mean, it had a very distinct shape.
That's amazing. And, going over the photograph, it doesn't look like a bug, like a dragonfly or anything along those?
Nope. I before I even start to blow things up or check pixels and stuff like that, I make sure that the screen is clear of that kind of stuff. And, especially if it's taken through a car windshield. Half the stuff you get is bugs. But this wasn't taken through a car windshield. This was taken outdoors.
Where would this rank on the information that you have been given in 2021?
Oh, it's up there. It's up there. There's a lot of them that are up there. This year, I think, has proven to me, without a doubt, no doubt whatsoever, that ufology, cryptozoology, paranormal, and all the other 40 and stuff that's out there are all connected. That separation doesn't exist anymore.
I don't get it. I mean, this to me falls. I'm not saying I don't believe you, okay?
Right.
But to me, this also falls into the category of the Thunderbirds and the pterodactyls and all of these miniature dinosaur sightings that are happening, in the northern parts of Texas, right through to Mexico. The little T-Rexes, the little velociraptors that people are claiming to see. I mean, at some point, Butch, how do we rationalize these sightings? Because I want to believe this. I really, really want to believe this. But in the case of a Thunderbird, no offense to anybody, and I'm not trying to sound gross. I know I've said it on this show before, but dude, that is one big painting of a dropping that thing is going to have. That's going to paint a new car. It's going to paint a big white mark on the forest. It's going to paint rocks. It's going to paint people. like when it drops its business from the sky. I mean, I can't be wrong here, man.
I don't know what to tell you. Condors, which have also been seen on the East Coast. Everybody said, "Oh, they're on the West Coast." No. They've been seen on the East Coast. They get up into the atmosphere, into the wind, going from high altitude winds, and the winds will carry them right down. Hell, they could be in New York City, but I have the same feeling you do on some things. Like, well, if that's, when somebody tells me there's a bird as big as a Cessna 172, I'm going like, I've flown a 172 and I can't imagine a bird that big. And like you said, if it crapped, it would destroy the car. It would just cave the car in. I don't know. You've got to have a really strange open mind when you're doing this stuff. You really do. If you try to rationalize some of the reports, like I said, I never thought that had ever come out of my mouth. Looks like a dragon. I mean, no way. I would have probably said it looked like my mother-in-law first before I said that. But it's what it looked like. And that's what I was tasked to look at and give my opinion. And that was my opinion.
Well, this just went in a completely different direction than I expected it to go. I didn't expect. I didn't expect dragons. I mean, we're talking Mothman here.
No, yeah.
We got about 4 minutes.
And there have been, and Dave, there have been Mothman reports down in Point Pleasant over the year. I think there's 3 that are three. Is it 3? Yeah, probably 3. 3 that I read that describe Mothman.
Three and a half minutes to go. What's the top Mothman sighting of 2021?
The one that I thought was pretty good because it was multi-witness, the 6 people, was out at the dynamite plant at the munitions factory in Point Pleasant. And they didn't see anything going in or while they were there. But when they were leaving, there was a alleged Mothman on an old building, just sitting on top, staring at them. Then they took off. But that was probably the only one that, because the other one, the one with the guy was like on the other side of the river, and he said he saw it. That's a long distance, unless he had binoculars, and he didn't have binoculars. Either that or he's got Superman sight, because that was a long distance. So I kind of passed that one off. But the one at the dynamite plant or the munitions plant, and the other one I believe was close to there, but not on that property. They described that there's a pond close by. I don't know if it's a silt pond or if it's a natural pond, but 2 guys were going out to do a little night fishing, and they saw it on the other side of the pond. And I don't even know who's investigating those.
Sounds like trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like complete trouble. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I mean, when you have 6 people seeing a Mothman at the old munitions dump where the original Mothman was seen back 50-plus years ago in West Virginia, Point Pleasant, I mean, that's all sorts of eerie right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of eerie.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff is, I guess the best word is powerful when you're listening to it or you're reading it.
So, what were these people seeing? Was it a daytime sighting, nighttime sighting?
The guys at the pond, it was nighttime sighting. They saw the glowing red eyes and they put a flashlight over. And he said the pond isn't that big. And I kind of remember seeing a picture of that pond years ago, and it wasn't that big. But and the other group that saw the one, it was a clear night, moonlit, so they got a real good glimpse of what was standing up there on top of the building. And again, the glowing red eyes and no neck, the wings, the whole bit. But when you get these reports of old cases like that, you got to think, here's an individual who's probably born and raised in that town, been listening to those stories all his life, all her life, and all of a sudden they're seeing everything everywhere. And I'm not saying that they're making this stuff up. I mean, I'm sure they truly believe what they're seeing as they're seeing. But it's just like it's been bred into them, from birth. This is why the bridge went down. It wasn't because of bad nuts and bolts. It was because of this bird sitting on it.
All right. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We're through 1 hour here on Spaced Out Radio. Hour number 2 with Butch Witkowski continues. We'll continue with the Monster Talk, the best monster reports of 2021 with Butch Witkowski and Strange Days. And then just to fire him up, let's find out what pisses him off as well. We'll be back. Butch, I'm just going to put your microphone on mute, mine on mute. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back, okay? All right, be right back. Sorry, guys. All right. Bear with me here. All right. You know one of the things my son wanted for Christmas, Butch?
What's that?
He wanted a desk put in the studio for him, so that way he could come to work with me.
So cool.
So I put a desk up here for him.
How old is he?
He's 8.
Yeah, he'll soon be driving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he loves hanging out with Dad in the studio when Dad's in here working. So, the show's a little too late for him. But, the way it is, it's kind of cool. So, set him up a desk here. CM Taylor, welcome to the channel. I'm just going to get caught up here with people who are just coming on in here and joining us in the chat room. Who else am I missing here? Sorry, guys. Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop. How you doing, buddy? If you haven't subscribed to Paranormal Chop Shop yet, make sure you do on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. P8 Sheepdog, welcome back. And thank you for coming on in. And who else do we have here? There, we're all caught up. Thank you. What a great night. Great audience. Chris Moe in Austria, welcome back. I want to say a big thank you to Simon, Smithy, Tim, Dry Toast, Sally, Sugar Britches, Thomas, Rooted in Gorgeous Sacredness, Philip, Ben from UFO Garage. Make sure you hit subscribe there. Daryl ×2, and Joe and Joe's Main, 2 separate entities. Thank you so much for the love of the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you so much. Hi, Ronno how are you? Welcome back. And thank you to all the veterans tuning us in. We love you. You always have a safe place here on Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Hour number 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kazatska. Kazatska is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight, a year in review of weird, strange sightings. UFO cops Butch Witkowski is here for Strange Days, his final appearance of 2021. And Butch, we always appreciate you coming on in here and enlightening our audience. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome, sir, anytime.
All right. Now, in hour 2, we usually take some questions from our audience here, and a good one from Ghost Dragon right off the bat. I haven't heard much about the Jersey Devil in 2021. Any reports?
No, I haven't heard anything either. For a while, that Jersey Devil thing, I guess the best way to explain it is somebody will put something up on the net, and then you'll get this flurry of reports, and then they just go away. And it's always been that way with the Jersey Devil.
What is the Jersey Devil for people who may be wondering?
Oh, my goodness. There have been so many descriptions. It's like the bottom half of a horse and the head of a goat. And, they're just so many descriptions that don't even make any sense.
That's it. There's
Mm-hmm.
Short and sweet like that. All right. Well, let's move on here. And let's take a look at, the year in Sasquatch. There was a lot of talk about Sasquatch this year in people who are having sightings, people who are having encounters with this creature. Tell us your best sighting of 2021.
Best sighting was a UFO sighting. Matter of fact, it was right out in my front deck. I just went out. It was like about 1:30 in the morning. Grabbed a pair of binoculars because it was such a clear, starry night. And I caught the one out of the corner of my eye, and it was very slow moving. It was very erratic. Climbed and dove and stopped a couple times, changed color a couple times, and I got to watch it for like almost 10 minutes. It was amazing because I'd never seen them that long. They usually shoot across the sky horizon in the blink of an eye. But this thing was like pretty much taking its time. And then when it got pretty much out of eyesight, even with the binoculars, it turned color again and then it was just gone. That was probably the best sighting of the year.
Okay, what's the best report that you got of Sasquatch this year?
Whatever you're funny, Peacock's got it exclusively. Stream classic sitcoms like The Office, Parks and Recreation, and 2.5 Men. Plus, catch Peacock original comedies like AP Bio and Saved by the Bell. For all your exclusive comedy faves, go to peacocktv.com and get started.
The Ford Mustang Mach-E, the F-150 Lightning, the E-Transit van. 3 of America's most iconic popular vehicles. They've been fully electrified, and they're making the revolutionary feel familiar. We've got a feeling they'll help make electric vehicles even more popular for all Americans. Call it a hunch. Ford Electric Vehicles. Built for America. Built Ford proud.
I didn't get any Sasquatch reports. Although there have been some out in western Pennsylvania, of course, and I believe it's in Fayette County, out around Chestnut Ridge. But those reports, like you won't see any for a little bit, maybe a month or two, and then you'll get a really good one. And some of the reports out there are very good, and I've been out there a number of times. And I'll tell you something: if you had to pick a spot where this thing would live, thrive, or whatever you want to call it, that would be the place. Fayette County, Chestnut Ridge. It's just amazing out there. There's so much land, such a wooded area that, you can hide anything in there. And there's plenty to eat, plenty of water, plenty of this, everything out there could sustain a Bigfoot.
All right. From Australia, Steam Train Mark is asking, how close to the Bigfoot, or how close do Bigfoot get to people's homes?
Oh, there's reports of them on the, at windows, at doors, on porches. There was and I can't remember how long ago the report was. It's been a while on that report where a guy kept hearing something walking around on his deck, or not deck, but front porch at his farm. So every time he'd go out, it'd be gone. And so what he did was he got a bunch of old boards and drove nails up from the bottom and then nailed it to the porch. And went out the next day, and there was blood everywhere from something walking on the porch. So instead of getting somebody out there to look at him, even like the police, somebody, they just got a hose, took the boards up, washed it all down.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, sometimes people don't know what they got when they got it.
Man. P8 Sheepdog is asking, what did we learn, if anything, or do you have any stories about shapeshifters this year?
The bipedal canine could be a shapeshifter. We don't know. Shapeshifters, although a lot of people aren't familiar with them, there are a lot of reports on them over a long span of time, especially from the indigenous. And they can be anything, from skinwalkers to bipedal canines to rakes, tall, thin man. There's just so many like that where they're not there, then they appear. But you have the same thing with some Bigfoot reports where there's nothing there and then they appear. Or your father, or a group, the one group in Pennsylvania, a Sasquatch group, was actually following some tracks in snow, which led up to a fence, and on the other side of the fence started a state game land. And about 10 foot before the fence, the tracks stopped. They weren't there, and they weren't on the other side of the fence. So shapeshifters, when you think about it, a shapeshifter could be anything. Anything could be a shapeshifter, which gets you into, the flashes of light where a Bigfoot is seen and then there's a flash of light and he's gone. Or something's, they're following something or they're looking at something and it disappears. It just goes away. So somebody said to me one time, do I think there's another realm in time? And I didn't even have to think hard about that. I said, yeah, why not? We don't know everything. I mean, come on. I mean, it's just, there's stuff out there that we just can't even comprehend. And I don't know. It's just, it doesn't dishearten me. It kind of cranks me off a little bit because I'm not smart enough to figure it out in my mind. But hopefully somebody will one day. And hopefully I'm still around to get the answer.
All right. Jenny would like to know, do you have any stories of 2021 of the Appalachian sheep squatch?
No.
What is this creature?
No. Well, it's supposed to be, or alleged to be, part Sasquatch and part sheep.
Oh, nothing nightmarish about that, Butch.
Nothing. That won't keep me up at night.
No, not at all. Ben from UFO Garage is asking, do you think ley lines have anything to do with crypto sightings?
Absolutely. Same thing with UFOs. I mean, you start looking at ley lines and UFO reports, and it's uncanny. I mean, you can follow UFO reports on ley lines from one part of the country to the other part of the country, from east to west or west to east. There was a gentleman, he doesn't do it anymore, but he used to put all the Bigfoot reports on the internet. And I don't know what happened to him. I don't even remember the guy's name anymore. But that was his thing with ley lines. He actually had a map up where he had, he just numbered the reports, and you can see they just followed the ley lines. I mean, right on the money. And a lot of UFO researchers have done that also, and the same thing. The last ley line I saw from UFOs, excuse me, started on the East Coast in southern New Jersey. I believe it was southern New Jersey. And then went straight across and crossed over Dulce, New Mexico, crossed over Area 51, crossed over 2 or 3 military bases that are questionable out to the West Coast.
Wow. All right, let's move on here. Nicola wants to know, Butch, do you have any have a good sighting of a bipedal this year in your loop of any other areas in Pennsylvania?
Just one from the loop. I have a guy on that. I didn't even publish anything on it because he hasn't gotten to talk to the guy. The guy's a cop and he works kind of weird shifts, so and he doesn't live far from this guy, so he's just trying to set up a time. Last thing I heard from him was a couple days ago, right before the holiday. He said they were probably going to meet at a diner up in his area and get more information. So as soon as I get that information, but he said, sounds like a really good report, and almost mirrors other reports that we've had. I know that the guy was putting a cover over his camper at a campground for the winter, and when he turned around, he saw it standing at the edge of a wooded area staring at him, and his description was just like everybody else's. Same thing, no different.
Wow. For the bipedal canines that you, the reports you took this year, I mean, were they up? Were they down compared to other years?
Well, they kind of just stayed around about the same. It's just like they're almost they'll pick up in like September, late August, September, October, and then in November if the weather is nice, and then they pretty much die for the wintertime, and then we'll start getting reports or sightings when people are back out in the woods. They're getting their cabins ready, their boats ready, so they're out and about. And the one guy, he was putting his boat in the water for the first time, but that was in May, and there was something off on the distance from where he was with the boat and his dog. Off to his right was something standing in the woods. That was a pretty good report too. They're there. And what kills me is they don't leave that lichen loop. What's up with that? I mean, why don't we have those reports out in Pittsburgh or up in Schuylkill County, north, or up along, Pennsylvania, New York line? No, they're in that loop. Or it's in that loop. I don't know there's more than one. Could be just the one. I don't know. I mean, but the thing is, they scare people so bad that till the person actually gets around to looking up who to get a hold of to report it to, days have gone by, maybe a month has gone by. So there's the chances of finding any evidence in the area is slim to none. But we're going to hit the caves hard this year, because there's like six. What's that?
What's what?
Oh, there was just a whole bunch of background noise.
Oh, weird. I didn't hear it on this end.
Yeah. But anyway, it's there's a lot of caves in the areas where we were, where we had some really serious reports. So we're going to hit those. If you have to stay any place, no sense standing out in the rain, get in the cave.
Right. All right, let's move on to another question. Alien Critter would like to know, this year, any reports of mutated creatures like the squonk?
No. Mm-mm. I think the squonk was more local legend. I don't know. I don't know what it was. There was the description of it. It's small. It's kind of chubby. It's like part pig and part this and part that. Oh, I'm not crazy. Other people heard that noise too.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this squonk thing?
It was folklore where this creature was seen usually around farms, and it was small. When I say small, maybe German Shepherd size, ugly as sin, hairy. Some describe hoofs, some describe like hoofs on a horse or a cow. No tail, just kind of a short, squatty, ugly, mangy, smelly thing that would just pop up on farms every now and then. That story, that's an old story. That goes back a long way.
Melissa would like to know, when is the last report you heard of the devil's footprints in England?
Oh, it's been a couple years. It's been a couple years.
I've never heard this. Can you describe it for us?
All I know is because the report was very light, and it was somebody saw what they described. Well, there were a couple of reports. The one I'm familiar with is a lady was in her garden, went in the house, left her basket out, and it got a little on the dark side. She went out to get her basket, and she swore that she saw Satan walking around the edge of the garden. And when the husband went out that morning, there were hoof prints, like 8-inch brown hoof prints. And they don't have any animals at that farm, just fruit and vegetables. But I haven't heard that in a long time.
Nothing scary about that. Having the devil look through your vegetable garden.
Yeah.
All right, Daryl was wondering if you could explain in detail a little bit more what ley lines are.
Ley lines are a system used in mapping where if you would look at a globe, even the newer globes have them. I mean, you'll see the outlines of counties and states and everything like that. But if you look real close, you're going to see lines that go, they'll go all the way around the globe. And then they'll go north and south, they'll go east and west. And at one point, early on, ley lines were used for laying out railroad track, cable for telegraphs. Ley lines came into some, when states were being organized, ley lines were argumentative as to, who got this section and that section. They were pretty much a surveyor's way of finding their way around. But that goes way back. Now, over the years, they've been used for telecommunications and setting up towers and all that kind of stuff. But they don't move. They stay the same. Like if you said the 32nd parallel, well, that's like a ley line. Okay? Same thing. Some have numbers, some don't.
Very weird.
But what's funny is they don't have them in Canada.
Yes, we do.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, they do.
Yes.
Yes, they have them in Canada. I thought that'd crank him up a little.
You just wait till the next half hour. I'm going to get you going here. Ghost Dragon, so we got about 2 minutes to go here. Ghost Dragon is wondering, any good lake monster reports in 2021?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Everybody's still looking for Nessie. I know that. That's about it.
Really? No champ sightings? No nothing?
Nope. No champ. No Nessie. No nobody.
Do you believe in the lake monster theory? I'm still up in the air about that.
Well, I'm going to say no, and only because every place they're reported in this state and other states, they're man-made lakes. So what did somebody bring down their pet whatever and throw it in the lake to get rid of it? Nessie's a different story because that empties out into the ocean. There's a way you can come in from the ocean, so you can't really say much about that. But as far as these lake monsters, most of them are not most of them, all of them are seen in man-made lakes. So
I think they're sturgeon, big fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, People don't realize how big a sturgeon is. They're huge.
Oh, yeah.
They are huge.
Well, around here, the sturgeon can get to almost the size of a great white shark.
Yow.
That's big.
Yow. Makes fish fries easy, though.
Not allowed to keep them.
No.
Nope, not allowed to keep them. They are protected, and they are, you're allowed to catch and release them. If you're caught, it's a minimum $1 million fine, and I think up to 10 years in jail.
Jesus. Wow.
Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there.
Okay.
Because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we'll continue to take some audience questions. And we'll also see what fired up Butch this year. Because there were a number of times in 2021, the old Butchie Poo here got a little cranky on the air with us. Why not? We love it when we crank up Butch here on Spaced Out Radio, 2021 Year in Review on Strange Days with Butch Witkowski. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. There we go. We're clear. Ross Lambda, how you doing, man? Let's see, who else has showed up? Megalodon definitely still exists, Drew Morris. 100%. Navajo, please, what email did you send those to? Because if you sent them to our website, I'm not going to get them until tomorrow. Navajo, I'll put in my email address here. You can send me those footprints that you got today. Have a good one, Justin Maynard from Australia. All right. Thank you, Steam Train Mark, for confirming that I am alive tomorrow in the future. Since in Australia, they're a day ahead. Appreciate that. If you're keeping track, we've dropped to minus 27 Celsius now outside the studios here. Idaho Potatoes, how you doing, buddy? Happy New Year to you. Minus 32 in Calgary. It was minus 40 here this morning, which is minus 40 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it warmed up, thank goodness. I am rocking the toque, Gordium. Totally rocking the toque. My DJ Ashba toque.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Unlike other automakers, we at Ford don't think you should need a 20-minute tutorial to open your glove box. So we made our technology easy to use by making our vehicles available with Blue Cruise hands-free driving, Sync 4, and the Ford Pass app. And the best part? They just work. Built for America. Built Ford proud.
Optional features listed.
Alien Probe Master, thank you for lubing us up for tonight's show, buddy. Appreciate that. we're all a little bit easier to get around now, thanks to Alien Probe Master and his fantastic grease lightning. I know you do, buddy. I know you do. Grandmaster, a.k.a. Gong Show. What is happening, Gong Show? Butch is like, you got some strange people listening in. The Probe Master. Love it when the Probe Master shows up. Any chance I get to say thanks for lubing us up, that just makes me happy. All right, Jeff Steve Garvey, welcome back. Let's see here. Go here. Oh, those are some nice prints. Butch, I'm going to show you these footprints here.
Okay.
Coming up the next half hour. This is from Navajo, who's a new listener, or at least new to our chat room. These are nice. These are about, well, let's see, a water bottle is what, about 7-8 inches? So these are 16 inches plus.
Wow. What part of the country?
I don't know. Navajo, could you let us know in the chat room what part of the country you're in? We got about 1 minute here.
Okay.
Grandmaster, I have no idea why, dude. You're not blocked or anything. You're not timed out or anything. Downshift, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. I want to say a big thank you tonight to Ben ×2, Joe, Daryl ×2, Phil, Rooted at Gorgeous Sacredist, Thomas, Sugar Britches, Simon, Smithy, Tim, Dry Toast, and Sally for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love and support through Spaced Out Radio here. We appreciate it. Thank you to all the veterans tuning us in, and don't forget you can shop and get your SOR swag on our website, spacedoutradio.com. It's a good way to support what we do, too. Here we go, everyone. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hello to everyone out there. Reminder to you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days as we check on out the weird year of 2021 in the world of monsters, legends, and folklore. Butch is the leader and creator of UFO Cop out of Pennsylvania. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get to a couple questions. Then I have some photographs to show you from one of our listeners who actually found some Sasquatch tracks here earlier today. Definitely not in Canada because there's no snow around. Definitely in the United States. All right, Pam McSee is wondering, what about lake monsters in Fresno, California? Have you heard about those?
Kind of, but I haven't seen any reports on it yet. It was very vague. Matter of fact, it was on a radio show.
All right. Alien Critter. Butch, have you ever interviewed anyone in the Amish community about anything strange they have seen?
Yes, Amish and Mennonite, yeah. Mostly stuff in the sky. There was a Bigfoot report a number of years back, maybe 10 years ago, but both those young gentlemen were drunk out of their minds.
Oh, no. That's never any good. All right, let's
And they did admit to it.
Really?
Oh, yeah, here we go.
All right, so I'm going to go through these prints here a little bit. All right. Team Navajo just sent these to me. And for our radio audience, he is in New Mexico, where I guess he was out checking out the sites and actually saw some really cool footprints in the desert here. And there's a few different sizes of prints here, Butch, in regards to it. And he's using a water bottle to measure the footprints, but you can definitely see the toes, the formation of the toes in these prints. And, you know, I mean, this print that we're looking at right now is about 9-10 inches, maybe 11 inches by, it's looking like by about 4.5, 5 inches. You know, this is very interesting stuff here. I'm curious, Butch, like when it comes to footprints like this, how important are these footprints to this type of evidence?
Any footprint is important as evidence. Anyone. They're all important. We actually carry catalogs in the vehicles with every known Bigfoot print that we could ever find to match up, and the size is very important, because I have a program where I can put that photograph and I can give you the size, length and width. But what the very important part of these are, you have the span at the front of the foot, but you can see the heel imprint. And the heel imprint should be smaller, and it is. So very good prints.
Well, here's another set of prints that he has sent to us. And if you look at this photo here, this photo is looking over a beautiful desert. I've never seen desert like that.
Oh, New Mexico is beautiful, period.
I would love to go there. But you look at that print, okay, right there. That water bottle is about half the size of that print. And we're probably at the highest width of that, probably about 8 inches across. I mean, that's a big, big time creature there, Butch.
Mm-hmm.
To create a print that size.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how heavy in rough ground like that, where there's a lot of
it's heavy. To leave a print like that, it would have to be huge. Huge.
1,000 pounds?
Close to it, I'll bet.
So
800 maybe.
So these photos were taken in the Four Corners region of New Mexico. That area, I have heard for a long time, is quite a hot spot for Sasquatch activity.
It's where J.C. Johnson used to do all his work.
But, I mean, there's no place for an 800-pound creature to hide unless there is some sort of cave system. I mean, there's...
But you got to look at it this way. How many people are out walking around out there? I mean, the chances of you going out there and walking around and bumping into somebody, that'd be crazy. I mean, I've been in New Mexico many times, and I'll tell you what, you can look out, and it's like when people say, well, we're running out of room for people to live, and you look out in New Mexico and you go like, I don't think so.
I just can't believe, I mean, looking at the setting there of, you know, I mean, it is high desert in that area.
That's a good print. be a little tough to cast that one, but you can do it. Huh.
That just blows me away. Absolutely blows me away. I mean, that is, I mean, I don't get it. I'm at a little bit of a loss for words here because I agree with you. In that territory, you're probably not going to have a lot of people running around. The odd hiker, the odd, wilderness camper, there's probably a lot of First Nations around there. Obviously, the gentleman who sent the photos to us, Navajo, I'm going to assume he's of Navajo descent. I mean, First Nations, I strongly believe, have a very large connection to the cryptid and the paranormal supernatural world, but I'm not seeing any forests or trees that an 800-pound, 700-pound creature could hide behind or disappear into. Maybe caves? Are you thinking?
Yeah, but the ground out there is, it's not flat. I mean, you got you could walk from a road, you could walk maybe 20 foot in, and then you're going to go downhill into a small crevice, valley, whatever you want to call it, and walk up the other side, and then it's flat again. So there's a lot, there's a lot of places. There's outcroppings all over the place. I mean, New Mexico's landscape is not usual like Arizona. Arizona's flat. I mean, that's the period, end of story. But once you get to the mountain areas, you could hike anywhere you wanted to and nobody will ever see you.
But even with binoculars, Butch, if you're looking around, you're going to see something that's 8-10 feet tall.
Yeah, if they're still around,
Navajo states, I'm not going there at night alone.
I don't blame him.
My goodness.
I don't blame him at all.
My goodness. That is
a good print.
I do want to ask you, and thank you, Navajo, for sharing those photos with us, and for our radio audience who is listening in, you can just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, to look at the photos. So that way you can have a picture of them. But Butch, looking at the photos that Navajo caught, we're looking at, to me, at least 3 different size prints here. At least 3. Okay, but here's the curiosity part, even for me here in British Columbia, where we have found prints. A lot of times you never see a trail of them. Okay, and you only see one, maybe a broken up one that you can't tell if it is anything of relevance, but usually it's only one print. Why is that?
I've been asking myself that question for years. Now, I've seen tracks that go along a riverbank or in the snow. But at one time it just seemed like the only print that was ever taken was the right print, the right foot. And but now up in your area, I'm trying to think of the name of the lake.
Harrison?
Big. What?
Harrison?
It's a big lake. But anyway, 2 guys went up there. Their father and his buddy were fishing. He had some stuff thrown at him. And then he and his buddy went up. He and 2 guys went up. And they were following prints in the moss. There was a lot of moss. And he photographed there. He didn't cast anything. But he photographed everything. And the one set of prints was kind of strange because it was very large. excuse me, very large. But the next step was about half that size. So did he come down like this, lifting his heel up because you couldn't see the heel, but you can see the same width and everything on the toes. But that, it doesn't really mean anything because, like you said, you might find one, you might find two, but to find them, left, right, left, right, left, right. I mean, that's unusual, very unusual.
See, to me, this is where it makes me wonder about the magic of a lot of these creatures. Because when you sit there, and I've talked to, it doesn't matter whether it's you, Lon Strickler, Nate Rudd, Duke from World Bigfoot Radio on YouTube, many, many others who have been watching and following this creature for years. To have just one footprint is so vague and in the middle of nowhere where you're not going to, we're not talking about these stupid monoliths that were, running, people were running into certain areas and putting these stupid monoliths up like we saw last year. I mean, this has been going on for decades where people will go into an area and there is one print, and usually it's the right foot. I mean, there are certain areas that you can't just create a print without some massive, massive weight. I mean, whether it's the deserts of New Mexico or the forestry roads of Western North America, those roads are so highly packed down that you could barely make a vehicle print in them, let alone a monster footprint. And, that's what I'm saying, is it's not someone who, Butch, is tying a printout of a plywood 18-inch print going around. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. But like I said, there have been real good photographs of prints that you could follow. You got especially the one along the riverbank. You got the stride. The stride was like almost 7 foot, and the print itself, the prints themselves were like 18 inches by 8 inches. That's huge. But it was soft ground. He did cast 2 of the prints. And I mean, you could make out everything on the foot, everything. I mean, it was just, and then what was weird about it was like they went a pretty good distance. He was just going down to fish and he kind of caught it out of the corner of his eye, and he had his camera. So he just, got his little camera out and started doing his thing. But they went about 40, I think he said 44, 46 feet. And the embankment, which was very low, very, very slight steep from the water up to a tree line. And then they went into the tree line, but he didn't find anything in the tree line. But he followed those prints from where he saw them, where they look, I would say, just looking at them like I did, that it looked like they came out of the water and then went down along the water on the soft dirt into the woods, but nothing in the woods.
I don't get it. Ann is asking, Butch, have you ever looked into the caves in southern Indiana? Is there some strange stuff going on there?
Not that I know of, but Pennsylvania, we got caves all over the place. We got caves everywhere. Mine entrances, mines, closed mines. Yeah, place is nuts. No, I don't know of anything in southern Indiana. I can look though.
Melissa would like to know, what are your views on the Nazca lines? Since I'm thinking about it, who do you think created them?
Well, if I say the indigenous did that, people would go like, yeah, right. And if I say that something off-planet did that, people would go like, yeah, right. I don't think anybody has a clue about those lines. I mean, when somebody takes out surveying gear, and at the Nazca lines where the flat, the one, I think it's the bird, the Thunderbird, whatever it is, and that one straight stretch there, and the guy takes that kind of equipment out there, and that line is perfect. It's not off a quarter of an inch left or right. It's as straight as an arrow. I just can't see some Indian out there with a line, striking a line and getting that perfect. I have no idea. And they just found a couple more a few months ago. They found 2 more they didn't even know existed. They were further away, but in that same area, but just further out. Couldn't tell you. Some people swear by that the indigenous did it, and other people say, like, not a chance.
I think they were signals.
When you look at them, they are.
So, you like murder mysteries? The Deadbolt Mystery Society can bring it to life in your own home.
It's a monthly subscription box filled with a storyline of intriguing characters, evidence, mystery, and suspense.
Even BuzzFeed says it's the closest you'll get to fulfill your dreams of being Sherlock Holmes.
Solve your first mystery with promo code DMS20, and you'll get the save 20% off your first purchase.
DeadboltMysterySociety.com.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Size-wise, and, they're not like big bird, little head. I mean, everything is exactly the way it should be. I just find it hard to believe that many years ago. I mean, how did they even know what to draw? I mean, I don't know. There's things that are way beyond my belief.
I think they are signals. Back then, when things were drawn, they were drawn because people saw them. Okay, this is why if you go and look at a lot of the hieroglyphs that are out there, they are created by the creatures that were around them. Like I know in our area, there are hieroglyphs here of the indigenous who were killing bears and fish and mountain lions and everything along those lines. There also is mention of a lot of star people around. Right? Well, where does this come from? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Egypt is the same way. The Mayans are the same way. That they had no reason. I mean, how do they know what a spaceship looks like?
Well, one of the things that always bugged me was, whether it's not so much the Nazca lines, but hieroglyphs of Mayans down in South America, and then you can go to like Vietnam, and there's the same drawing, exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go from there, and you can go to Ireland, and the same markings are in a cave somewhere. I mean, that's crazy. Look, whatever's around has been around for a long time. I mean, they were here before us. I just, when people say, well, no, it's just us, and I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Same thing with when people talk about stuff from planets, Well, there can't be anybody else out there but us, or they know all about. Give me a break. How do you know they're not us? or we ain't them. You know what I mean?
Very true.
There's so much we don't know. I mean, there's a lot of talk, a lot of skepticism, a lot of bantering about what it is and what it isn't. And, you know, you're looking at the person who's telling you all that, and he's got an IQ of about 6, and I'm giving him 4. So we'll find out. We'll know. I mean, eventually things will start meshing up. They'll start getting together. But there's some stuff that we just can't explain. I mean, the stuff that I've seen flying in the sky, I'm going like, how do they do that? How does that happen? You know, how does something go that fast? I can watch it from horizon to horizon in just a couple seconds.
Truth.
And people go like, oh, well, that's one of ours. Let me tell you something. Not a chance do we have anything like that, or anybody else. There's no way.
90 seconds left, Butch, before we got to go to break. Thin Lizzy is wondering, did you receive any reports out of Colorado this year of anything strange?
I haven't. A friend of mine did. He lives in Western Ohio. And I think he's working on I guess the best way to put it is a strange-looking mountain lion that is way too big and multicolored. So I don't know enough about it yet, but if I get any more information on it next time I'm on the show, I'll make sure I put it out there. But all I know is it was way too big. It was like saber-toothed tiger size, but it was multicolored, and mountain lions are not multicolored. And the head was kind of misshapen, and the tail was really short instead of long. That's pretty much all I know. So if any of that gets back to me, I'll make sure I bring it up I'll make a note here. I'll bring it up on the show next time.
For sure. Butch, we got you for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. And you know what? We're going to continue with audience questions here because we have a lot to go through here when we come back from the break. And then at the bottom of the hour, we're going to say hello to the fedora-wearing John Hudson with the Unbiased UFO Report. A couple of amazing stories that have happened in the UFO world that are going to make you think. Spaced Out Radio with Butch Witkowski, Strange Days. Final appearance of Butch of 2021 heading into the final half hour on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we are clear.
How much time we got there, Chief?
We got 6 minutes, brother.
I guess we'll go out and wash the car.
Yeah. Good night, Gordium. So far, so good. Great show tonight, people. Great show, great crowd.
Always a great crowd.
Oh,
always.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh. All right. Butch is going to tinkle. Amber, thank you so much. We appreciate you listening in. We do. We do. Thank you. And thank you to our new listeners tuning us in here. Butch is feeling better. He is. Hey, Ron, what's happening, man? How you doing? What a great night, everyone. Hi, gorgeous Mary. How are you? My hair is driving me nuts tonight. Driving me nuts. That's okay. By the way, if you haven't checked out our TikToks, Thin Lizzie Borden in our chat room is the amazing queen behind our TikToks that she is putting out there. We're all learning how to do it, so if you haven't already, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and give us a share if you don't mind. We would appreciate it. And if you have a good TikTok channel going, do us a favor. Give us a share on your channel. We'd greatly appreciate that. Andrew, how you doing, bud? Hope you're trucking well. Penny Van, thank you for coming on in. Noble Patrick, thank you for that amazing super chat. Really do appreciate that. Along with Ben ×2. Joe and Joe's Maine with his first ever super chat. Daryl ×2. Phil. Rooted in Gorgeous Sacredness. Thomas. Sugar Britches. Sally. Dry Toast. Tim. Smithy. And Simon. Alvin and Theodore as well. Thank you so much for the love. Really do appreciate that. That's amazing, you guys. Thank you. Sweet Tony D, good morning to you in the UK. We are not eating pancakes with bacon at this hour. That would be considered breakfast for late night snack, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Hello, gorgeous Jean Beckett. How are you? Duke, you look stunning. Thank you for coming on in.
I really look stunning?
Oh, you look amazing. You look amazing.
You're a sicko.
You love me. Andrew's at the world's largest truck stop in Walcott, Iowa right now. Terrible times. How are you? We got about 2 minutes, Butch.
Okay.
What a great show tonight.
It's always good shows. It's the audience.
$90 seconds. Hello, gorgeous Amy Vegas O, working the night shift in Vegas tonight. We love it that you're always listening, my dear. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. Room for 900 to 1,200 trucks. Holy cow. That's a city, man.
Wow. That's a big truck stop there, boy.
Holy cow.
Oh, man.
The gorgeous Coral Libra Queen, good morning to you. $30 seconds, bud.
And a plethora of lot lizards.
Big thank you to all the veterans tuning us in tonight. You always have a safe home here on Spaced Out Radio in our chat room. And don't forget, you can do a little shopping at spacedoutradio.com. Get your latest swag that we got up, and we are working on more as well. And here we go, everyone, with the final hour tonight.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. And what do you got for us tonight, Clam? Kazatska. Kazatska is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, Butch Witkowski and Strange Days happens here. Butch is from UFOcop.com, and we check him on out once a month for the weird, strange sightings that are going on around his area and the world in general. And, of course, Butch here has been a monster hunter for pretty much the last 25 years or so, and he doesn't look a day over 45, which is amazing. And, yeah, I know, Butch, I know. I'm just trying to give you a compliment here. You know, before we get to audience questions, Butch, you're known to get a little cranky every now and again. And usually I'm always trying to fire you up somehow, you know, and I've done a pretty good job this year. Yes, you.
What?
Yes, you. Out of all the stories and happenings that happened in 2021, which one upset you? Which one pissed you off the most?
Well, there were a few. If I had to pick one out of the group, I won't use the guy's name. He's a researcher, and I always thought he was a pretty good guy. But I guess he had a new book coming out, so he had to enhance everything. And he came up with this report where he and another fella were tracking a Bigfoot in Pennsylvania. And it just went on and on and on. And they were on the highway and they were off the highway. They were in the park, you know, the state parks, and they were chasing this thing for like 3 days. 3 days. The weather here was atrocious at the time. A lot of rain, cold, windy, a lot of wind, a lot of damage from wind. And when he starts it out on the report, you're not going to believe this, but the minute I read that, I went, I don't believe it. You schmuck. Of all the people that I thought was doing a pretty decent job, you just shot yourself in the foot, big time. Next thing I know, he's on a radio show with this story. And they're buying every bit of it. I mean, they're eating it up like it's a Coney Island hot dog. They're going crazy. All of a sudden, this guy who wouldn't know Bigfoot if he fell over him, he just kept it going for a month. And then, I won't mention that guy's name either because he's one of my guys. He just ripped him apart. He just tore him up. He pretty much called him a flat out liar. And it went on and on and on and on. Now, I wasn't involved in this at all. Next thing you know, I get this email. And he starts chewing on my butt about this story. And I said, there's nobody in their right mind would even think of believing that story. I said, 3 days, you're tracking this thing. 3 days. Aren't you the same guy that broke his foot last month? Aren't you still in a boot cast? It don't hurt anymore. I went, you know what? You're so full of it, it's coming out of your ears, you moron. I can't believe that stuff. Look, if you're going to lie, just say, look, this is just a story. And then he tries to convince me that this is a fact. And I said, you sent me a picture on Facebook of you and this friggin' broken foot. And now you expect me to believe that you're out trouncing around for 3 days in state parks, in bad weather, high winds, lots of damage from the wind, highways, and with some other schmuck that I don't even know who that guy is. And I said, and you expect me to believe this bullcrap? He said, would I lie to you? And I said, yes, evidently you would. You are, you jerk. I said, you know what? Do me a favor. Don't contact me anymore. Just stay away. I said, because, you know me. I may be old, but I'm pretty ornery. I said, next time I see you, I'm just liable to punch you right in the mouth, you jerk.
Oh, my.
I said, people like you give everybody else a bad name. And then I said, and then you tried to play it up on the radio and Facebook and YouTube and everything else. And I said, you found a bunch of gullible schmucks that were going to listen to your story and shake their head. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. But you didn't tell them about that broken foot, did you? I didn't think so. Goof. So there's some out there that, you let it go for a while, but when they start, because it makes everybody look bad. It makes everybody look bad. So, Butch, I just took it all in stride, and then I posted a picture of him with his broken foot and the date that he sent it to me on. And I said, which 3 days was it? And I posted it. Haven't heard from him. Maybe he's mad. Ha! Screw him.
Holy cow.
Sure.
Just dropping elbows left, right, and center.
What a goof. You know what? Why do people even do that stupid stuff? I mean, that'd be like, with all the people that are on SOR right now, if I told them that I'm the greatest investigator that ever lived, they'd probably all go home. This clown is just, I don't know. But I'll be seeing him shortly. We're down at Point Pleasant. I'll be going down there this year, so he always shows up there. And I'll embarrass him as usual. I'll just make an ass out of him. Dumb shit. What a goof. Why would you do that? Why would you lie and then continue with it? I mean, the first words out of his mouth when he said he was walking around for 3 days, I'm going like, wait a minute, didn't this guy bust his foot? And he's in a cast? Oh, and then I asked him, I said, did you use crutches or did you have one of them wheel track chairs that you can run around the woods in? Oh, I was getting around pretty good. I'm going like, give me a break. Damn.
Oh, I love it.
So, you like murder mysteries? The Deadbolt Mystery Society can bring it to life in your own home.
It's a monthly subscription box filled with a storyline of intriguing characters, evidence, mystery, and suspense.
Even BuzzFeed says it's the closest you'll get to fulfill your dreams of being Sherlock Holmes.
Solve your first mystery with promo code DMS20, and you'll get the save 20% off your first purchase.
DeadboltMysterySociety.com.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Love it. Oh, your blood pressure okay?
I'll check it later.
World Bigfoot Radio Super Duke says, punch him, Butch. Give him an elbow drop for me.
I'd like to do more than that. I'd like to rip his lungs out.
Wow. Hey, but you know, that's what hurts our community, man. That's what hurts our community. The minute we start to get any momentum, you get people like this who just want to be the star on the show, do the talk show circuit on every social media platform they can in order to get their name out there.
Well, it's the fortune and glory. That's what they're looking for. They think they're going to get paid for this. I've never received a dime in 30 years for all the work I've done and all the money I've spent. Not a dime. We don't take contributions. I mean, it's just, you're out there to do something, and whatever you see, whatever you find, you share with people that want to know. And just tell them the facts. This is what I know, this is what I don't know. And that's fine. But when you go out there and just snowball everybody and blow smoke up their butt, it's just not right. It's just not right. I get emails and from people that they're not even doing anything. They're not researching or anything. They just have a question about a report or something they read in a book. And I could be a real jerk and just say, look, don't bother me, and hang up. But I don't do that. I'll talk to them until they get all the answers they need if I can supply them. And there's some that I can't supply because I don't know anything about the report. But I have people call me, what books should I read? Do you know anybody in my area that can help me out with a case? Yeah. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But guys like that just get me cranked. I'm going to be awake all night now thinking about I want to strangle that little piece of shit.
Oh my, Butch. Tell us how we really feel about the guy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't mean to laugh, but I didn't expect you to get that wound up about it. Holy cow. Holy cow. Make me want to cover up and go find my safe spot here in the studio.
Well, they'll get the comeuppance eventually. I mean, they'll get caught on a radio show maybe, or at a conference. And if he's at that conference down there, I will make sure that story will get all over the place. I will go out of my way.
Nothing like a little cryptid revenge to end the year of 2021, as we got about...
You got that right, brother.
About 10 minutes left before we got to say goodnight to Butch Witkowski and goodbye to 2021 with Butch until he is back next year for year number 7 of doing Strange Days here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch, I had a question earlier from the audience regarding missing people, the 411 cases.
Oh, yeah, Dave's stuff. Yeah.
This is something that isn't going away. It's becoming a little bit more popular. People are really starting to pay attention more than ever regarding the work of David Paulides and others like Steve Stockton with Missing Persons and Mysteries on YouTube. I mean, Butch, every year we know, thanks to you, that there are about 65,000 Americans that go missing without a trace. This is after there's about 1 million Americans every year that go missing. But after you whittle it down from everybody between who changes their identity due to a bad divorce, to people who are murdered, to people who commit suicide, to people who flee to other countries, because there's always a paper trail in today's electronic world, there's 65,000 people who vanish without a trace.
Yes.
And we're not talking just, shady people. We're talking children, the elderly, the sick, the disabled, the mentally challenged, the healthy, doctors, lawyers, McDonald's workers, Walmart workers, construction workers. It's a very big mix of people who go missing. Why do we need to take more time to investigate this outside of just the few people who are?
Well, people have defined ufology as the only thing in ufology with people that go missing for a time are the abduction cases. They never look toward or back at the amount of people that go missing every year in this country. And that, I'm just talking about this country. When you add up all the other countries, which they don't really keep records, I mean, you got whole villages that have disappeared in Africa. Whole villages, gone. And, I really got to hand it to Dave because he puts in a lot of work. It's not like he sits at his desk and tries to figure this stuff out. He's out in the field. And he's talking to, the Rangers. And that's another thing. It kind of upsets me that, he's former law enforcement. And he's dealing with people that are in law enforcement. And he knows right up front that they're snowballing him. They're not going to tell him anything. So, we have people that over the years they figured it all out. Bigfoot's taking them, or they're getting carried off by aliens, or everybody comes up with something, and it's just you got to give it to somebody that puts in that kind of work. And I have all his books and his maps. He does a phenomenal job. And I wish we had a lot more like him out there. Unfortunately, we don't. Because there's people that they don't care that somebody's missing. It has nothing to do with them. But it should, because it could be their kid, be their mom, their dad that goes missing. And I'm sure they'd be out looking around. But it's there is so much to this, and this when we started doing the research on this, we went way back. Whole armies have disappeared. The one was a Chinese battalion that was getting ready to go into battle against the Russians, I believe, if I remember right, and they were forming up, their battle plans and stuff like that. And the camps were all set up. Everybody was ready to rock and roll, get out there and do their thing. And the enemy showed up, and they weren't there anymore. Their equipment was, their tents were, their tanks, all that other stuff. They weren't there. There were no footprints, nothing. They're just gone. Gone. That's crazy. A whole army. We're talking about 300 men gone. Just never found. Nothing. Weapons were laying there. Just disappeared. And there are people that have been looking for people that are lost for years and years and years. Looking, a father disappeared or a kid disappeared. And that might have been 10, 15 years ago, and they're still looking for them. And how do you explain where a father and a son are hiking, and the mother was along? She was behind the father, that was the father, and then the kid was about 15, 20 feet in front of him. They went around a slight bend. Father got around the bend, the kid wasn't there. There was no signs of the kid being attacked by anything. You could see his footprints in the dirt. And they just stopped, and that's the end of it. No kid. He's been looking for that kid for 15 years. Goes up there every weekend. Crazy. And it's, like I said, it's worldwide. It's not just here. It's everywhere. Everywhere. Now there's a few buttholes out there I'd like to disappear. And I have friends that would help me bury the body, too.
Well, I think we all have that. But, I mean, just the fact, Butch, that a lot of these people are gone. They have no their wallets are, say, in their car or back at home. Their keys, their doors are locked, Even
they don't take any money out of their accounts. I mean, phone hasn't been used. All that stuff. Where'd they go? They surely just didn't go up to start a new life. You would take your wallet, you would take money from the bank, you would take your car, you would take a phone, you would take all that stuff. I mean, this stuff is just laying there.
I mean, this is stuff where, when the police go investigating, they're looking for unusual financial transactions, looking to see if there's, credit cards that have been taken out recently or new bank accounts open, with money transfers, as an example. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Even if they were robbed, there would be some sort of transaction on file, whether it's credit card, debit card, you name it.
Yeah. Don't know. Just don't know.
Do any of these people ever reappear, Butch, as we got about 2 minutes to go?
No, they don't. They don't. They're gone. The one that just sticks in my craw that I just find so hard to believe was that, and I've talked about it before on the show, where a group of young folks were out at a bar. One of the guys, they were closing the bar. One of the guys said, "I'll go get the car." And they could see him walk toward the car. And, well, the car didn't come up, but he didn't come up. So they walked over, and the keys were laying on the ground, and he's never been seen again. No sign of a struggle, nothing like that. He's just gone. We're talking about 50 feet. We're not saying he walked down the road a mile. It was 50 feet away from the front porch. And they saw him. Never heard anything. Just gone.
One final minute here with you, Butch. And I want to say a big thank you to everything that you do for this show. And 2021 was an amazing year, especially in 2020 when you were coming off your heart attack and you had to miss a bunch of shows in order to get healthy again. And we're so proud that you were able to make it through and your health issues and to be able to come through to this show, man. You are so loved by our audience, Butch. And big thank you, and I'm so looking forward to doing this again with you in 2022.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed every show, even though you get me cranked up. I hope all the people out there that listen have a good new year and stay healthy. And I guess we're going to see them in
1 month. 1 month.
January 31st.
Butch Witkowski, Strange Days. We'll talk to Butch next year. The fedora-wearing John Hudson is about to join us for the Unbiased UFO Report. We continue right after this. Fantastic show, Butch. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The comments are coming in. If you could read the comments there. Lots of love for you, man. Lots of love for you.
Oh, sugar bridges. Okay. Have a good New Year, my man.
You too, buddy. We'll talk to you.
Need anything?
We'll talk to you
and
soon.
Lon's going to send you some photographs.
Yeah, I actually booked Lon tonight for January 10th.
Cool.
So, yeah, I did get what Lon sent me. And, yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.
Bye. Butch Witkowski, everyone. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. He is an amazing, amazing man. Makes me have to edit in that final couple of minutes there. But that's okay. It was worth hearing him get all angry. And Fap, you came in at the proper time, right when Butch was about to wind himself up there. Just wait for the fedora-wearing John Hudson to join us, and then we will get moving on there. It's good times, people. Very good times. There he is. The fedora-wearing... Your room is getting darker and darker, man.
Oh, yeah, I can turn up the light a little bit. Hold on a second. Let's see if we can turn that up a little bit. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Hold on a second.
Look at you. You look like one of the Bee Gees right now with that beard.
Yeah, it was actually funny. I actually asked my daughter the other day. I'm like, honey, like, why haven't you said anything about my beard? And she grinned and she goes, because I like it. And she like reached up and touched it. And I was like, wow, boy, talk about winning points for the beard.
Nice.
You know, if your little girl actually thinks that likes your beard, then you're in pretty good shape. So yeah, but here, let me now I can turn up the light a little bit here.
Look at that beard.
And well, it's supposed to be turning up the light. I don't know why it's not turning up the light. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, you're really dark, dude.
What is going on here? Oh my goodness. God, I love technical problems. Man, anyway, but I'll keep messing with this, and I'll light myself up better in a second. But we can go ahead and go on. I don't want to be belaboring this issue so give me a second here, and I'll take care of it. But don't worry about it. It'll be fixed in a second.
Mm-hmm.
I have too many networks in my house is my problem.
Oh, you're all on a light switch.
My lights only are accessible through one network. And I thought I was on the right network, and I wasn't. And so I was like trying to figure out why my switch wasn't, not my real switch, but my soft switch wasn't actually working. There we go.
There you go.
There you go. That's a little better.
There we go.
That's a little better.
Is that a Nerf gun in the back there?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, that's one of the only ones that is still normal. Normally I put a lot of effort into remaking them into other things with molding clay and paint and so forth, and then I upgrade their springs and everything. And so I usually kind of cosplay type stuff.
You can
just for fun.
You can come on over and have a war at my place, man.
Oh, well, what's really funny is that I've actually had to stop doing some of the modifications because the gun started shooting at about 160 feet per second. And at 160 feet per second, it can hurt. And so I've had to start, tuning it. It's kind of funny. You keep thinking bigger is better, and then no, there's a point where bigger is not better anymore.
Very nice.
And I apologize about my notes. I will have them to you in a second. I'm just looking for an image.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to say a big thank you to Obi, to Noble Patrick, Ben ×2, Joe's Main, Daryl ×2, Phil, Rooted in Gorgeous Sacredness, Thomas, Sugar Britches, Sally, Dry Toast, Tim, Smithy, and Simon for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love. We really do appreciate the support. And here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time once again for us to move on to the unbiased UFO report. Here comes John Hudson. Yes, John Hudson comes on in wearing his beautiful black fedora and his newly painted beard. Can't believe the guy is like almost my age and doesn't have to use hair dye yet. Very disappointing. But I mean, here it is as we bring the unbiased UFO report coming on in. And big news coming out of Washington, D.C., John, where President Joe Biden has given a very, very strong signature.
So, you like murder mysteries? The Deadbolt Mystery Society can bring it to life in your own home.
It's a monthly subscription box filled with a storyline of intriguing characters, evidence, mystery, and suspense.
Even BuzzFeed says it's the closest you'll get to fulfill your dreams of being Sherlock Holmes.
Solve your first mystery with promo code DMS20, and you'll get the save 20% off your first purchase.
DeadboltMysterySociety.com.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Which includes the UFO studies.
I know. It's like, pop the champagne. I mean, like, is everyone like properly like excited? I mean, this is like, this is no, okay, I get it, but seriously, this is really good, because the thing is that this is a huge piece of legislation. The UAP stuff is just part of it, but there was no issues with it, and so it all went through. It all got signed, and now, so for the first time in history, we actually have legal right, an actually legally accepted document in the U.S. government that stipulates the existence and the way to deal with UAPs. That's a big freaking deal.
Okay, why is this a big deal, John, for those who may not understand?
Okay, so forget for a second everything that you might know from your experience. If you just base conversation on what is on the record, okay? That is how a lot of situations end up. And so you have these conversations on the record where if there's never been any kind of official acknowledgement that something ever happened, you can't even bring it into the conversation because it doesn't actually exist yet, right? So by them basically putting into legal writing that UAPs is a real issue and it has to be now it kind of it seeds the ground. It basically it opens things up. It makes it easier and safer for other people to now start talking about it and defending what they've seen and sharing what they've seen, because now there is actually this real official like signed document that it deals with the issue. This is the UAP problem rubber hitting the road.
So, with this being signed, what happens now?
Well, my guess is, for the most part, for the next 90 days, we will all argue and complain with each other over what we think will be in that first assessment. And there's even some debate as to whether we really will get an assessment after that first 90 days. However, it is after that first 90 days that we then have the position where we can start asking for those assessments, and we have legal reason to actually demand it because it's actually in the document. It's really quite beautiful.
Very nice. Very nice. So if everything goes as planned, when are we going to see the startup of this new UFO task force? And are we getting any details yet as to what is happening with that future task force?
So no, to the last question. To the first question, I would be shocked if you get anything at all. I will be shocked if we can even find out who's in it. I will be basically what will be happening is if look at it like an iceberg, right? Like one of those iceberg pictures where there's like a little bit of ice on top of the water and a whole lot below it. That little bit on top, that's what we're going to be getting. The rest of it below, that's what actually exists, and that's how it's going to be.
So in other words, they're setting all of this up to give us nothing as per usual.
No, more than nothing, but nowhere near what you want.
Is the public getting screwed out of this?
No, I don't think so at all, because I think that essentially what the U.S. government is doing what is in its best interest. Right? And if you happen to be an American, then at some level it's in your best interest. But it's not like the way the U.S. government has handled this has been. I don't know. I think basically they're giving us as much as they have to. I think there are some people. I'm sure there are tons of. I know for a fact there are tons of people in the government that believe that a lot more should be shared than it has been. But we have the everlasting problem of the fact that it's not, when we say methods, people just gloss over methods like this, no big deal. Methods are a big freaking deal. And tools are a big deal too. And the thing is that, there are a ton of times where we catch people doing things and we can't tell anybody because the devices we caught them on don't exist. And it sucks, but it's the way it is.
All right, let's move on to the Nazca Lines because there's new news there. We do have 3 stories with you, and the third one I want to take some serious time for. But the Nazca Lines, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, so it was more that I was excited to hear it come up in your conversation with your guest tonight, and the Nazca Lines have been coming up lately in conversation because essentially they found some additional glyphs that they hadn't found before, which when you see them, you're kind of like, really? Like, how could you not? Like, they're big and they're detailed, and anyway, not my problem. Cool new Nazca Lines. But what I want to kind of bring up to everyone as well is this whole question of who built them and why they built them. And I think that I guess the point I just want to make is that I think that now that we are starting to have a better grasp of how far back humans go and how advanced Neanderthals and Denisovans actually were, and the fact that we were cohabitating, and the fact that there have been, semi-intelligent, semi-advanced, hominids roaming around for a long time, that we need to start looking at, pre-flood coastlines to determine what was connected and what was built and why it was built. And I think the Nazca Lines are a great example, because if you drop the ocean over there, 500 to 1,500, 2,500 feet, depending on the area, you will find that the Canary Islands end up being part of a land bridge that leads you right to the Nazca Lines. I mean, like it's like a march. Like you just go doop, 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 doop. I have a picture of it. I'll show you. And you just boom. It's like a map. It's like Google Maps. Here, this way to Nazca Lines. It's crazy, but you got to drop the ocean quite a bit. Now, the last time the ocean was that low, I don't know for sure, right? I know it was at least 35,000 years ago. And I'm not saying that this hypothesis is right either. What I'm saying is that now that we have a wider view of how long humans have been operating on this planet, we need to take those new glasses and re-look at old problems like the Nazca lines, because I think we're going to start seeing new solutions.
Are you still a believer, or what do you believe in what they were drawing in the lines? Because, I mean, for them to draw everything from cats to aliens, it looked like they were putting out a signal to something off-world.
It was CE5 with finger paints.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, I really do. Now, does it necessarily mean they ever got an answer? I have no idea. I have no clue whether it was ever symmetrical, communication. But I think it's pretty much safe to say that whether they thought they were communicating with with entities in the sky or entities in the stars, those pictures were communication tools meant for someone to be seen from way high up. Now, it's also possible it was for their own ancestors as their own spirits went up into the sky. That's possible too. There's all sorts of interesting scenarios, but clearly those images are drawn for someone who is not on the ground.
All right, and finally tonight, and you know what, this one may take up a little bit of time here, but Shirky Poo has it in her headline for the news as well, and I'm going to just kind of read a report here that NASA has made some very interesting hirings in the past couple of days here. They have hired a number of theologians to prepare humanity for alien contact. A priest and other religious experts have been called on to help Earth deal with the possibility of extraterrestrial life. NASA is enlisting the help of 24 theologians in a move to determine how different religions around the world would react if contact was made with aliens. The space agency hired a group of academics to take part in a program at the Center of Theological Inquiry at Princeton University, to which NASA gave a $1.1 million grant in 2014. Among them is British priest and Cambridge University theologist Reverend Dr. Andrew Davison, who is helping to advise amid the ever-growing likelihood of discovering alien life. His forthcoming book, Astrobiology and Christian Doctrine, considers the possibility of God also creating life elsewhere in the universe, and notes that non-religious people also seem to overestimate the challenges that religious people would experience if faced with evidence of alien life. Carl Pilcher, former head of NASA's Astrobiology Institute, says the theologians were brought in to consider the implications of applying the tools of the late 20th and early 21st century science to questions that had been considered in religious traditions for hundreds or thousands of years. Addressing the idea of Earth as the only planet in space with life on it, he said, that is just so inconceivable when there are over 100 billion stars in this galaxy and over 100 billion galaxies in the universe. Our observational and exploratory space technology is advancing rapidly at present with new tools like the new James Webb Telescope, which launched on Christmas Day, offering a clearer picture of the universe. It has been described as a time machine that could observe distant objects emitting light from further back in time. This is amazing news, John. It is very amazing news.
It's hard not to giggle at some of it for a degree, like, because first I'm thinking like, oh great, you're gonna bring a priest, like how well does that go with exorcisms, and so, but the truth of the matter is that for a lot of people, if they start hearing about aliens from their local police, it's not going to go over well. From the local government, not going to go over well. Hear it from their federal government, not going to go over well. They hear it carefully from their local religious leaders, and it's going to be a lot easier for a lot of people to accept that. It's not a bad place for the information to come from.
Well, the problem that we have, and we have discussed this on this show for the betterment of a couple of years, and you and I have had some in-depth discussion about this. With more than half the planet being of some religious connotation, everything from Christianity to the very small beliefs, and I don't mean them to be small beliefs, but the small pockets in Africa and in the jungles of Southeast Asia that pray to a deity that we may not even know of. There's over 5,000 deities that are prayed to on this planet.
Jainism.
And the idea that we may have the religious community now coming on board with UFOs and more so extraterrestrial life, to me, this is a major problem that we are going to see on this planet. Because I know people who I've talked to locally here who believe that anything coming from space is demonic. Anything coming from space, we could pretty much sound the alarm bells for Armageddon and Revelation in the Bible.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter which religion it is, that's a lot of the pictures that we are getting.
To a lot of religions, any world event is just a buffet for them to use to then enforce their own doctrine and their own policies and their own belief systems. It's very, it's unfortunately, it's very normal. It's very human for them to do so. But the thing is that at the same time, for a lot of people, especially when you get away from the larger, religious organizations, you're talking about local parishioners, local, your local priest, your local bishop, your local rabbi, your local whatever, right? Like those are usually like neighborhood folks, right? Like we know them, and that's different. And so hearing it from them, that might be a good conversation place for it to be going on.
Well, I think it's an in-depth conversation that needs to happen. And it needs to happen quickly because so much of this is happening so fast right now. Okay?
Yeah.
And it leads to earlier in 2021 where I started the year off saying and asking, why now? What is the purpose of all of this happening now after decades of cover-up and decades of denial? And now all of a sudden NASA is hiring
Spy One Radar Man.
Well, whatever it may be, John.
No, I know.
We can make fun right now.
Yeah.
We can make fun all we want, but
there's
a serious connotation to this, and that is, what are they preparing us for? And if they are preparing us and they are willing to go down this conversation, John, I truly believe that my entire thought process that a date has been set to when contact is going to be made is coming very soon.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think a lot of people are with you. Personally, I'm not. I don't subscribe to that myself. But I've heard that from others, and I think it's a very common. I think it's a very common belief to hold. And the thing is that there's still a lot of good that can come from all this. I mean, there's still a lot of learning that can be done from it. So I'm hoping there'll be some healing from some of all this.
Well, and that's what needs to be done. That's what needs to be done, because if we do not take a bigger look at this and check out all of these little snippets that they are giving us, they keep giving us, and whoever they are, could be the government, NASA, or whoever, they keep giving us all of these little puzzle pieces. And the majority of the UFO field is not putting the puzzle pieces together.
Well, in fairness, the puzzle pieces are still disorganized enough in a way that if you did put them together, you'd be doing so with a low probability of final configuration, right? I mean, it's like there's a lot going on. But the thing is that we do have interesting models for how some of this plays out, right? And what some of what we've seen in other models is that some religions may not survive. Some religions may evolve to be more cultural expressions of cultural things and not necessarily structural religions. Some religions will grow, some religions will become multi-planet, and some religions will find things on other planets that they will hold as their sacred places, and they will begin to migrate to those planets just as we migrate to places. And that will eventually happen with humans.
It will. The question is, why now? And we need people to start asking the why now question. whether, we'll continue it here on this show. But journalists such as Ross Coulthart, television heads, need to start asking that question.
Yes.
Because the entire philosophy is being lined up for us, and the majority are not paying attention. So NASA could come in there and meet with 24 theologians on how ET life is going to affect people on this planet. I mean, if this was any other topic other than extraterrestrial, this would be headline news right across the world. Headline news.
Yeah, no, it's being throttled, and it's being throttled for what is believed to be a good reason. And honestly, in light of some of the conversations I've seen here, that I've had on Twitter and so forth, I'm not so sure anymore that's not such a bad idea. I think some amount of metered dissemination is probably a good thing, because here's the thing: a bunch of aliens could show up and tell the world that your religion is wrong, okay, and could even try to offer proof that your religion is wrong. Does that mean they're right? No. Does that mean your religion is wrong? No. Your religion is based on faith. It's based on your belief system. It's your religion. No one can take that from you, right? So believe. Do what you want. I don't care. Green, gray, purple aliens tell you your God doesn't exist. If you want your God to exist, if you believe in your God, then by God, your God will exist, and that's your God to do what you want with. And it's like,
very true.
To me, it's insane. It's insane. The whole idea that people are afraid that some other being can come from some other planet and hurt their belief system here, to me, doesn't make sense.
That's why we call him the fedora-wearing John Hudson, as he comes on in with the Unbiased UFO Report every couple of nights to keep us updated on what is going on in the world of UFOs. And once again, John, an incredible, incredible job. Thank you so much. Thank you to Shirky Poo for the news and getting us fired up for that major story about NASA going into the religious debate with UFOs. And of course, Butch Witkowski with Strange Days. We'll talk to him next year. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in, at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone listening in on YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Gearheads know that some projects need so many parts, it feels like you need a whole storage unit just to store them. That's what eBay Motors' 122 million parts are for. Think of it as your virtual parts garage. They've always got the right fitment at the right prices. Use the eBay Motors app or visit ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Keeping your tech teams on top of the latest developments is a monumental challenge. That's why over 60% of Fortune 100 companies count on the O'Reilly Learning Platform. See for yourself what O'Reilly can do for your teams. Visit O'Reilly.com for a demo.